Hi Taurus, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carole and this is going to be a general reading for you. There's no date on this reading, so I trust that when it comes into your feed, it's meant for you. I'm going to get right into your reading. We're going to jump in and look at what are you being asked to release right now that is no longer serving you. And it looks like there's one card that came out for you right here. And I'm using the Curious Travels deck with this reading. You have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse for what you're being asked to release right now. And then I want to know what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing. And so this second part right here is coming from your unconscious. It's going to be what's directing or having the most impact on what you're being asked to release. So there's going to be something coming up for you to heal from your childhood, from your adolescence, before you can release this. And so let's ask for one card to tell me what it is that's coming up from your shadow for healing. You have the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups. Interesting that this is very much, you know, a shadow card. The figure in it's very shadowy. What guidance does the tarot have for you in relationship to this situation? Now I'm looking for a card, one card, because I'm looking for something specific that the tarot is going to point to, because this is a healing channel. It's a healing journey, and the healing journey is a process. There's not a magic pill here, but sometimes we need to be focused and go into a certain direction. And this is exactly what this area does. It says, you know, this is what you need to look at right now. And so what guidance does the tarot have for you in relationships to this situation? One card. Stubborn, this one. There we go. You have the Five of Pentacles, and that was in a sideways position. All right, so I'm going to clarify with the Radiant Rider-Waite. So what are you being asked to release that's no longer serving you? We have the Queen of Pentacles, first of all, and the Queen of Pentacles is our feminine side. And we all have a feminine side and a masculine side, actually. But, and the whole point of the Fool's Journey in the Major Arcana is to bring those two sides into balance, right? Has nothing to do with your gender. And so you, this particular queen has a pentacle in her hand. And the pentacle is all about like our body and getting into our body. It's the earth element. And so there's a real need for you to get into your body. And that means your masculine, which is your ego self, your mind is running the show. Because if there's a call here for you to get into your body, there's a call here for you to get grounded. But that is in reverse, and it's actually maybe your feminine side is probably blocked. And sometimes when that's happening, there could be some real anger. Like she could be very angry, this feminine side of you, because she's trying to express herself, and yet it's being pushed down by your ego self, by your masculine. She wants to express herself because the feminine side to us has beautiful qualities, and one of those qualities is, you know, being grounded in our own body, being embodied and being able to feel and being emotional. That's our feminine side. Again, it's not nothing to do with your gender. And so I'm seeing here that there's your feminine side is blocked. There could be some anger here that you need to release because it's not serving you anymore. And so let's have a couple cards here that will give me some more information on this. One more. There we go. Okay, so with that you have the Page of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, it tells me a lot. I'm going to start off with the Page of Wands first of all, because the page is in my deck. There's 4 pages, right? And they represent my inner children, your inner children. I am in parts therapy for my own intensive healing, and so I've been able to apply parts to my cards. And the page is our inner children. I know mainstream psychology likes to say we just have one inner child, but we actually have a few more than one. And this particular one holds the wand. And so when you were around 4, 5, 6 years old, I think you knew, you might not remember now, but I think you knew what you wanted to do. You knew what direction you wanted to take your life in, believe it or not. We knew what we're supposed to do when we came here. But what happens is we get told by other people around us, authority figures, our parents, people that took care of us, raised us, that, you know, that's not really meant for you. That's, you're meant to go into this direction. And so I think there's where some anger's coming in here. Maybe it's around, you know, what you wanted to do when you were younger. And so you have a very young part of you that needs healing, right? It holds on to these big emotions, holds on to our memories. It knows what happened to us, what people said to us, but we don't always remember. And so I think there's some real anger that you need to get to, because sitting behind that anger is some real grief here. And maybe, you know, there could be some shame as well, because you have the Seven of Pentacles coming up right beside this page. And the Seven of Pentacles talks about this individual that's been holding these pentacles all his life. And then, you know, at a point in time, he looks at it and he goes, is this everything? Is this it? Is this it? Like, I thought there was going to be more here. And so I think there's like this individual that's wanting more and puts all this effort into something. And then when it's all done, it's like, is this it? And so there's this real, for me, the Seven of Pentacles talks about this feeling of like giving up. And, you know, and I think what needs to be released here is the anger that you're holding. Because I think there's a part of you inside, this younger part of you, that gave up when they were younger. Because you knew that you weren't going to be able to go in this direction. And like I said, maybe you know what it is. But there's some anger around that. And there's also going to be some grief or some shame that's going to come behind that. Because that's what needs to come forward. Because those two emotions are very, very healing. But in order to get at them, we need to get at what's blocking it, and that's your anger. And the anger is a tough one for us to get to, right? Because we're taught that that's not a good emotion. We're taught that's a bad emotion when we were younger. And so what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing? And this is going to tell me, you know, I know that there's anger that needs to be released here, but what's coming up? Well, you have this Five of Cups. It's no surprise here, because I did say that, you know, you're sitting with, you know, you must have gave up. You've given up, and maybe right now in your life situation, you're feeling like you want to give up because, you know, especially if we're taught not to go towards our anger will go towards the hopelessness, right? Or the depression. And when you were younger, well, this is you. Look at the 3 spilled cups there. And this individual is very much, I look at this card as, it could be a card of real loneliness, feeling alone when you were younger, and maybe being alone. And it definitely is a card about depression and feeling like you don't see a way out when you're younger. And so right now, you're probably feeling like you don't see a way out. You know, you've given up over here. You don't see a way out of your situation that you're sitting in right now. But that's a reflection of what happened to you when you were younger, right? Because there are situations that happen to us right now are, believe it or not, are triggers of what's going on. The universe tries to heal us, right? So it'll present these situations for us that are going to kind of, they're triggers, and they're telling us, like, look at this situation. You're sitting in a situation where you feel like you want to give up right now, but it's when you were younger, you were in a situation. You were really in a situation where you wanted to give up. You're an adult now, so you can get out of this. But I know you're feeling like you can't. Because when you were younger, you couldn't get out of this situation. You did give up. It was hopeless. You couldn't see a way out of it. And so let's get some more clarifiers on that when you were younger about the situation that you were in where you had to give up, right? You couldn't get out of it. couple cards here. I'm going to take this one. It's been poking at me while I'm trying to get a second card out. It's like, no, pick me, please. There's your other one. All right. So you have the Empress card and the Pentacles. Wow. Wow. And the Two of Pentacles, sorry. So the Empress card, first of all, you know, she's the second feminine card, second part of the feminine archetype in the major arcana. The first one is the High Priestess, and then you have the Empress. And the Empress represents our emotions. She represents our creativity. She represents everything about being in your body, everything about being embodied, right? And that's buried in your shadow. You were taught as a young child to you didn't feel safe in your body to feel those emotions. It wasn't safe enough for you when you were younger, you know? And that's where this you gave up, because I think you were taught at a very young age maybe not to take that anger out, right? Maybe you were called different names like sucky baby when you tried to cry, when you tried to express your emotions. And so you're very much someone that your emotions were shut down when you were younger. I mean, it's sitting right here in your shadow, right? And anything that's here is sitting in your unconscious. You've put that away. You've put your emotions away. Not a safe thing for you. And I know that because the Two of Pentacles comes out next. And the Two of Pentacles talks about this this individual that, first of all, we talked about the Pentacle as being, you know, the grounded element, and talks about grounding, and it's actually the earth element. So and so this individual is trying to juggle these two pentacles with one foot. So they're very ungrounded. It's a card of like multitasking, of staying busy. But when you were younger, you would have learned, if you were not allowed to touch your emotions, if you learned that they were a dangerous place, a dangerous thing to use, you would have become quite ungrounded when you were younger. Which means, you know, you would have been very much pulled up in your head. Our ego self does that for us. It's a real protector part. Its main concern when you're younger is for you to be safe. And so it knew when you were younger that your emotions weren't safe for you to use. People told you around you. And so what the ego self does for us is it distracts us. It pulls us out of our body. And that's where we become ungrounded, dissociated. And I think that's why this Queen's coming out right at the beginning of the first card. It's like, you know, big reminder here, like, what about your body? What about your body? And so what's the guidance from the tarot? You know, where do you go from here? What do you do? Well, the Five of Pentacles is here in a sideways position. And the Five of Pentacles, look at this individual, this little boy. Look at his pentacle. Look what's happened to it. It's broken. You know, we talked about, this whole reading has been about the pentacle and grounding and getting back in your body. And the Five of Pentacles talks about this little boy that's could be a girl, for example, but it doesn't matter. This child that's looking at their pentacle and saying, you know what? It's broken. This was you broken. And not able to stay in your body as a child. And so the universe says, you know, it's time for you to, let's get back in your body, because this little boy, this little girl, when you were younger, very much felt like they were unwanted. They very much felt that they didn't matter. When they were told that, you know, they couldn't stay in their body, and it wasn't a safe place to be. This is what happened to you when you were younger. That's your body right there, right? It doesn't belong to you anywhere. It's broken. It's split off, right? I'm talking about parts here, and we're talking about how you have these parts inside of you that hold on to your memories and your big emotions. Well, it's right here, your body. And the universe wants you to get in touch with right now. Let's get in touch with this unworthiness that you feel about yourself, right? Because if we're told when we're younger that we're not allowed to use our emotions. We feel unworthy. We feel like we don't matter. And so there's a real need for you to get in touch with maybe these big emotions of shame and unworthiness right here. So let's have some more guidance, get a bit more specific here. There you go. So you have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse and the Knight of Wands in a sideways position. Ten of Pentacles is my card with this Kabbalistic tree of life. You see the formation of these pentacles? This is very much, just going to grab this. This is very much a reading of pentacles for you, about grounding and getting back into your body. And this particular card, the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, is my card of generations. In particular, it talks about this. The Kabbalistic Tree of Life is like, it's a study in the Jewish culture, and it studies your origin and where you came from. And so this, to me, this is my generational trauma card, where you came from, what was handed down to you. And it's in reverse here. And so I think that there's some generational trauma that you need to deal with that is associated with you not feeling safe enough to feel your emotions. And right beside it is the Knight of Wands. And that's that part of you. The Knights are that part of you that, I call them my freedom fighters. There's a part of you that wants the freedom to do what you want to do. Take your life into a new direction here. And maybe you know it. Maybe you feel it. You're like, it's like this big urge inside of you to go into a new direction for yourself. That's putting yourself first. And that's what the universe wants you to do. The universe wants you to put yourself first. Go in that direction. But you see, these Knights, because it's an adolescent part. And so if you're told when you're an adolescent that, you couldn't do certain things, you're not allowed to, you get quite angry. And so this part holds a lot of anger as well. And so I'm going to say that there's some anger here that you need to get to. I think there's some real anger about not being able to feel your emotions when you were younger. And so I'm going to leave you. That's what I think you need to focus on right now, Taurus. I'm going to leave you. And I want you to know that this healing journey is the most difficult journey of your life. But it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.